Hello, and welcome to the Cosmic Force vlog. I'm Mark, and I love Star Wars just, so much. So much, in fact, that I have arranged this rewatch of the 8 saga films leading up to The Rise of Skywalker in December, and I'm not just doing it alone. I have also roped in my wife, Stephanie, and our good friend and roommate, Matt, to join in the experience. And yeah, today we are watching everybody's favorite prequel, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, when Star Wars gets dark. And so we're gonna watch it. We're gonna talk about our memories and impressions and everything of Episode 3, and then get into it, and then catch up after the movie with our thoughts and impressions. So we're gonna pass it over to these guys with some questions. Let's do it. So, here it is, guys. We're gonna watch Revenge of the Sith today. How do we all feel about Revenge of the Sith?
For me, it's my favorite of the prequels.
Popular opinion.
Yeah, it's a better story. But there's still issues with dialogue.
Power! Absolute power! Oh, and what's the other one? No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Two of the worst lines in all of Star Wars history, in my opinion.
From one of like the best actors in it, from one of the best characters in it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
I think I know that I've mentioned before in previous videos that Phantom Menace is my favorite prequel by a slim margin, and it's not because it doesn't have bad lines, because it totally does, like the you son big doo-doo this time.
Well, they all have bad lines. Like
right.
C-3PO had a bunch of bad lines in the last one.
But with Revenge of the Sith, it's like the drama is so high that it's like those clunky lines stand out a bit more, I think. And it's just also, it's the best looking film, but it's also so green screen heavy now at this point. Like, same thing with Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. There are no clone suits made. None of the clones are wearing anything. The helmets are all fake. The suits are all fake. And that's crazy. But, I mean, it was a technological breakthrough, so I take the good with the bad. I still love this movie.
Wasn't there like the Darth Vader like, no?
Yeah, the Darth Vader no is in this. Well, I should say the first of the Darth Vader no's in chronological.
The first of.
Because in Revenge of the Jedi and Return of the Jedi, when Vader picks up Palpatine and throws him down that shaft at the end, he's also like looking at Palpatine, looking at Luke, going, "This ain't right. I cannot abide this." That's in his head. What he vocalizes now in the special editions is, "No. No."
Oh, they added that?
Yeah.
Weird.
So
Great.
We're not watching that version.
We are watching the Harmy's despecialized edition of Return of the Jedi when we get there. So
good. So we don't have to deal with that. Because
Yeah.
I mean, one bad no from Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's enough.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, for being such a powerful character, I feel like there's a much better way to just express that emotion that he has in the
that
end.
Sorrow.
You get a lot of, like, you could see like pieces of equipment flying across the room, just like sparks, explosions, just like tension from like his emotions just flooding. But instead, it's that whole like, make fists look up to the heavens and just no. I mean, like, you almost expect him to drop to his knees.
But for me, like, I do think that it's a very like dramatic moment for him. It's like the ultimate like crumbling of Anakin Skywalker's life. He realizes that he killed his love. I understand the attempt to go really heavy-handed with the melodrama in that moment. But I mean, you could still have him say a similarly cliched line of something like, "What have I done?" I think just the no for Darth Vader's voice.
It feels like he's too constrained, or he's holding back too much for the amount of emotion he has in this. Like, he's just turned to the dark side. He's ripe with anger and hatred. And I think to just have that melodramatic no is like, they missed an opportunity to really bring everything out. You know? It's like all of a sudden this is where you pull your punch.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just feel like it's just not realistic sounding writing. Like, I feel like if anyone, like, just imagine you're in his exact position or Palpatine's position, like, that stuff wouldn't come out naturally. You know what I mean? I think that's why it throws people off. It's like, who would say that even if you were, like, in this fantasy world, you know?
Like, realistically, Anakin / Vader should be having, like, an anxiety attack in that moment. Just like, what? Oh my god. You know, just like he just loses his handle on reality or something.
Yeah, you know, unhinged or something that's just more real.
It's a difficult line to skate, I think, if you're trying to make this palatable to, like, all age groups. Although, I mean, getting dismembered is also pretty difficult to make palatable to young children.
Which, by the way, I will say that, you know, watching all of these Star Wars movies, starting with the episodes 4, 5, and 6 growing up, I knew that he was part robotic. I had no idea the scope of, you know, mutilation that he went through. It was just kind of like, whoa. Anybody else probably would have died in that situation, but he had strength. He held in there. His just driven by hate and anger, and all the more reason why that no is just so, like you said, Steph, unnatural.
Oh, fun fact about Darth Vader: when he gets all messed up on Mustafar, he's deaf too. The lava, like, melted his eardrums, and so it also messed up his vision. Like, there's this book, Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader, that goes into, like, just all the ways that his body is just, like, useless. If it weren't for the Force, Darth Vader would be, like, nothing, even with the cybernetics.
Couldn't he, like, use midi-chlorians to, like, repair himself, or isn't that
He wasn't the master of it, and Palpatine never taught him.
Palpatine could have done it.
Yeah, Palpatine could have done it, maybe.
He just
if he
left him
really
like
wanted
that.
to.
What a dick.
No, he didn't even leave him like that. He deliberately ensured that the armor was, like, painful to wear, because pain kept him in touch with the dark side.
Siths are dumb.
Siths are dumb.
Oh, and something to point out for this movie, takes place over a timeline of what we assume is like 8 or 9 months. So Padme, when we first see her in the beginning of this one, we find out she's pregnant, you know, maybe a touch of a baby bump. And then all of a sudden, end of the movie, she's giving birth. So that, I mean, that suggests, like, you know, like maybe 8 months in that in the timeline of this 2.5 hour movie. So that just is moving like this.
Yeah.
So it's
I think the passage of time in all Star Wars movies is very interesting. Like The Last Jedi as well, for instance. It seems like it takes place, I guess, over a couple of hours, right? Because they leave Dakar and then they're just flying away from the... Anyway, don't want to get off subject of the movie, but in this one in particular, because we are given at the very beginning this countdown of Padme is pregnant. End of the movie, Padme gives birth. So it's just like months must have passed in there, but it seems to all just happen
in like a few short days or something.
All right, so what do you guys hope to get out of this rewatch of Revenge of the Sith?
Well, since I kind of got a greater appreciation for the other 2 prequel movies, the same thing, just like, you know, with watching the Clone Wars show, I like see if I catch more things that I didn't catch before, and just you know, better understanding and appreciation.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I'll be tuning out as much bad dialogue as I can. Also trying to catch hints of Palpatine's future plans as we're approaching the final movie in the saga. Questions have been raised, so I'll be watching for hints.
Cool. I think one thing that I'll be watching for specifically on this rewatch is I think maybe it was when I was reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization, but I've noticed Palpatine doesn't ever really lie. Like, he's full of it a lot of the time when he's talking. He's very much pandering. But, like, even times when he says things like, I love democracy, you know, it's like, he probably does, because it's a system that is working very much in his favor. you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he just incorporates a lot of this double speak with everything that he says, where it's like, that's how the Jedi, I think that's how he skates by them so easily, is because he's not deceiving them. He's being truthful, but from a certain point of view, you know?
Manipulative way.
Yeah.
That's a reoccurring theme, I feel, in almost all the movies, is, you know, a certain point of view. And a certain point of view is sort of like a running theme with this. So, yeah, well said.
From my perspective, the Jedi are evil. Another one of my least favorite lines. I mean, it's necessary, but it could have been put a little, like, okay, that's what you're saying, but let's put it into dialogue, you know?
Yeah.
But I digress. Anyway, let's do it. Let's start Revenge of the Sith. Woo woo!
Here we go.
Best prequel, maybe. So guys, here we are. We just saw Revenge of the Sith for the first time in, I'm guessing, several years, right?
And can't unwatch it.
Oh my god.
It feels long because a lot happens.
It does. It
It
feels
does
like a
feel
long
long.
movie. But yeah, so much does happen. So what are your guys' kind of takeaway impressions? Like,
Well, definitely the best Obi-Wan of the three movies. He's like the most confident and like the most sassy at this point, and also like the beard and the hair is on point as opposed to the other looks. So.
last time you called him a clean hobo, is
Yes,
that right?
he looked like a clean hobo, and this time he looked like a hot Santa, a young hot Santa.
Young hot Santa.
Palpatine, great, interesting character. Love the scene with him and Anakin in the concert.
Oh yeah, the
It's
bubble opera.
Yeah, it's a really revealing scene. It's pretty much a confession, and there's a particular shot in that I thought was miraculous because it really looks like Palpatine is reminiscing when he's talking about Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
And it for those who didn't catch it the first time, go back and watch it because it's like it tells you right there that he was Plagueis's apprentice. That shot was very intentional, but it was subtle, and I thought it was great.
Yeah. Well, the way that scene plays out in Matthew Stover's novelization is quite different. I think we actually watched kind of a YouTube video that was like an edited together. They did a lot for what they were working with, and
It gave us the full dialogue from that
Yeah.
scene from the book, about almost 12 minutes worth, versus the little over 3 that's in the film.
yeah, it's a fairly short scene in the film, and it just Sidious expands and really creates this environment through his own narrative.
This point of view
Yeah.
that he's sharing with Anakin. I thought for an adaptation for a scene, it was really well done because it gets to the point without overdoing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great scene. One of the finest scenes in the movie, if not the finest.
Even though I do like the drama in this movie, I feel like it's still Anakin's turn is not believable to me. Like
Really?
his motivation, yes, because I understand he lost his mom. It's like all the reasoning makes sense, but the way it unfolded, like I didn't like. There wasn't a key part where I'm like, oh, I could see why he turned bad. It just seemed like all of a sudden he lost his mind. You know what I mean? Like
You say all of a sudden, but it was like years ago that he lost his mom. He was a slave. Like it's been a lifetime of a good person turning to the dark side.
But I get it. I get what you're saying though, because even though he's slowly been losing his mind, I didn't see a particular snapping point.
yeah,
You know,
it just seemed like random. It
Cutting
felt
off
random.
the arms of a Jedi master, but
But I guess at that point you're just like, fuck it, you know. I already killed one Jedi.
So there it is. It sort of accumulates the Anakin Skywalker story for now, because then it turns into, from here forward, a Darth Vader story, which turns into a redemption story of Anakin,
and hopefully more. Anakin's grandson.
Yeah.
Ben Solo.
It was a good conclusion for a segment of the saga. See our first glimpses of the Death Star in construction. And so Yoda goes into exile in this one. How does he determine, like, he's going to go live a solitary life on the planet of Dagobah?
Qui-Gon Jinn actually informed that decision. Dagobah is a planet strong in the Force and not of any interest to the Empire. And so there's actually a Clone Wars episode where Qui-Gon visits Yoda and he has a vision of Dagobah. And he's like, where are we? And he's like, it's the planet Dagobah. And boo 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 boo. And here's why you should come here. Should the worst happen, you know. But yeah, that's how he...
I think I remember that episode. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Revenge of the Sith. It's really a self-contained drama. Of the prequels, I mean, I guess they're all kind of these self-contained dramas, right? Like, the second one is a self-contained love story, really. The first one is a self-contained just kind of adventure story. Like, the overall trajectory of all three movies together is a tragedy. But you can see the greatest tragedy occur start to finish in Revenge of the Sith, you know? It's,
weren't you saying that, like, Palpatine, like, killed her?
Oh, man. Okay, so I've got this theory.
Run with this.
I've got this theory that back in Phantom Menace, like, there are a few points... It's a movie made for kids, but there are a few points where they made it seem like Amidala could really die here. Padme could really get killed. And we learn that Palpatine is behind a lot of this, and she foils his plans, and she's much more capable than he thought she was, and she survives the day. And he's like, I'll get you next time, you know? But he also forms this relationship with Anakin. Fast forward 10 years, he has a great relationship with Anakin, and he sees that the former queen, now senator from his home planet, Padme Amidala, is being attacked, and he's orchestrating the attacks on her, and he's in a position to maneuver Anakin to, like a Barbie and a Ken doll that, you know, a kid is forcing to kiss, he's squishing Anakin and Padme together. And so I think that he has wanted to kill her since the Phantom Menace. And when he sees that he can manipulate that connection between them and how useful Anakin can be to him in the future, I think that he's like storing up all of this kind of hate and resentment toward her, going like, I'm going to wait for the perfect moment to take her out. And I think, and here's the theory, all that was just the build up to this. Here's the theory, that it was Darth Sidious who reached across the Force and snuffed out Padme's life, when medically speaking she should have been able to survive. The, I guess, official canon cause of death is broken heart, or she lost the will to live. But yeah, right, like I pointed that out.
That's just what the droids point out, though, is that she lost the will to live. I mean, we don't really know.
But I pointed this theory out to you guys at the beginning of the movie, and wouldn't you say that there were several points throughout that would kind of validate that? Just like,
I don't think
aside from what the droids said.
I don't think he like set them up or influenced that. I think he
literally made the recommendation in Attack of the Clones. He was like, "How about your old Jedi friend Obi-Wan Kenobi?" You know, and then who's his Padawan?
Well, yeah.
You know, just like.
But I mean, I can see like him taking advantage of that relationship.
Well, he knew Anakin from a child, and he knew Anakin had a crush on her from the beginning, so he probably did coax that along a bit. Helped influence his dreams a bit, kind of like the way Voldemort did Harry Potter. And
I could see that part, the dream part.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another part of the theory, is just like those dreams could have just been, as he had dreams of his mother, later creates it with Padme. I was thinking, he might have even given Anakin the dreams to begin with. The same way Snoke was connecting Rey and Ben Solo through the Force for their Force time events.
They are manipulators, masters of deceit. Why
Mhm.
not have access to dreams?
Yeah.
And they always say, like, oh, the dark side has powers that no Jedi has ever seen before.
Yeah, verbatim. That's,
Yeah.
that's
So
actually-
that could be one of the many powers.
Mhm.
Well, hopefully, all will be told in the final movie that comes out.
Oh, yeah, Rise of Skywalker.
This is why we're doing this. This is all
Oh, yes.
building up to get to Rise of Skywalker so that it's all fresh on the mind. We kind of can piece all the pieces together without having to be like, I need to see that again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm probably still going to keep watching all the prequels even after The Rise of Skywalker comes out because I love them. There ain't a Star Wars I don't love.
Also, this is pretty good timing, too, for the new, like, Disney shows, like the
Mandalorian.
the Obi-Wan
yeah.
show, so we
Mhm.
kind of have more context for that stuff.
Yeah, the new Clone Wars.
Ooh,
There's plenty of content out there. So there's lots of stuff that's coming up that is just going to further expand this universe. But in this one particular great storyline that started it all, this is where everything stems from.
You're talking about the prequels, of course. No, I'm just kidding.
Talking about the Skywalker storyline fully, because it starts with Shmi and Anakin and goes all the way up to Ben Solo as a Skywalker. He's the last one.
Yeah.
So we go in start to finish here. Very short bloodline, only a couple generations. Well, it's been fun.
But I guess, yeah, that's it. That's all we got to say about that's
Yeah.
all we got
That's all
about
she
Revenge
wrote.
of the Sith for
now.
tonight.
Yeah.
See
Pip,
you
pip.
guys next time.
I'll say this: Revenge of the Sith is, while not my favorite Star Wars movie, it is my favorite Star Wars story, start to finish, and mostly thanks to Matthew Stover and his novelization. It's a good one. Check it out if you haven't. So we did it, folks. We finished all of the prequels. We just watched Revenge of the Sith, and I loved it even more upon this screening. It is actually now, I gotta say, I flip-flopped, and it's now my favorite of the prequels again. I still love you, Phantom Menace. But where does it stack up for you? We're interested in knowing. Sorry, our bunny is kind of chewing on some stuff, making some noise. But yeah, what do you guys think of Revenge of the Sith? Is it your favorite? Is it a little too dark and spooky for your tastes? Let us know. Sound off in the comments. And be sure to tune in next week when we take it back to where it all began, back in 1977, with Star Wars, or as most people know it, Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope. It's a longer title, but it makes sense in the context. I'm excited for that one because we're not going to just watch the old Lucasfilm cut. Sorry, Lucasfilm, I love your work, but we're watching a fan edit. So tune in next time to find out which one. Yeah, it should be great. I'm excited, and you could be too. So let's do it. Let's watch A New Hope together next week. Until next time, good journey, and may the Force be with you.